Always love the opening to Online. It always looks like, what is it, Ghost in the Shell to me? Whenever I see that little thing there. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Rob's Arcade. I'm your host, Rob French, and it is time for the daily wheel spin here on my GTA. I used to do a Monday show with you guys, hang out all the time, but I decided to switch that up because you got so much you can do in GTA. It's like, why save it for just why save it for just one?
I'll get there as soon as I can.
You know, day a week or whatever.
Hey, what's happening?
So I decided to change it up a little bit. We're kind of hanging out with you guys every day, but you have to wait like 24 hours. That is the only downside to doing the casino. I feel like if you go in to the casino at like 3 o'clock on a there's a lot going on. I feel like if you go to the casino like 3 o'clock on a Friday, after midnight it should reset and you can go back in Saturday first thing. That's just how I feel. One per day after the 24-hour mark. And I mean, like, you know, like, what's wrong with that? Like, technically, yeah, you could go into the casino like 11:45, spin the wheel, wait 15, 20 minutes and spin it again, but then you're done again until midnight. I mean, like, yeah, you could do two back-to-back like that and just get it out the way, you know? But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a little silly. I'll go ahead and change some clothes real quick. Don't like going into the casino wearing the same thing I wore yesterday. Plus, give you guys a chance to check out my whips. Because hopefully you guys have been having a good week. It's been a busy week, man. A lot's been going on, especially if like you're a comic book fan. A lot of cool stuff out. Peacemaker debuted on HBO Max. Watched the first 3 episodes of that yesterday. It was a 3-episode premiere. Really cool little spin-off from the latest Suicide Squad from James Gunn. Peacemaker also written and directed by James Gunn. Really good, really just fun stuff. It's kind of like just stupid, goofy kind of superhero humor. I think he's great at taking those characters people don't know anything about, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Suicide Squad, and just making them like fun household names. We love some James Gunn. Also, the Eternals dropped this week on Disney Plus, and I was actually like looking forward to hating on that, but I can't really. It's actually really good. I'm actually probably going to watch it again later on this afternoon. I got a new episode of the Book of Boba Fett also on Disney Plus. If you're into horror movies, Scream came out this week. I mean, there's just a lot out right now. There's a lot to keep you entertained. And I'm a fan of all of it. Star Wars, comic books, horror movies. Ironically, it was horror movies that got me into all of this stuff. I mean, outside of video games, I think just having video game systems in the house always growing up got me into video games. But I think I mentioned this before in another video. My dad used to kind of like make me watch horror movies. Speaking of, let's take Christine out for a little spin. Yeah, my dad used to make me watch these horror films growing up. And it sounds bad. I tell my friends all that all the time, and they're like, really? Man, that sounds kind of messed up. Like, why would he make you watch horror films? But at the same token, like he would let me watch Jason and Freddy and stuff growing up. But then anytime there was something in like a newspaper or a magazine that showcased the actors or the people who did the special effects or the director, I did just hit my car. He would take me aside and kind of show me the stuff. Like he would show me what Freddy Krueger looked like without makeup, and you know, the director of these movies and the makeup artist, and it, you know, just became another question of like, well, how do they do that then? You know, like I love these horror movies. I know it's not real now. I know it's all fake, but how do they make it look so real? And that kind of started this fascination with film, how movies are made, special effects, you know, things like even like Back to the Future. You know, you start watching Back to the Future 2 and the hoverboard sequence, and you're like, okay, well, that's wire work. And then they do something else, you're like, okay, well, that's not wires. How did they do that? And it was always those little questions of how they do these things, how they make the aliens and alien movies come to life, and just all this stuff that really just fascinated me growing up watching these movies. You know, I know that guy's head didn't really come off, but it looked like it. And so that really, like I said, started me down this like just fascination with movies, how movies are made. A lot of times, like watching the behind the scenes and the commentaries are my favorite parts of watching movies, because it gives you this inside story of how these things are made. And sometimes I feel like the story behind the movie can be just as entertaining, if not more so, than the movie itself. And that all started with horror films. That all started with Jason, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, all that stuff. And then one of our favorite movies growing up as a kid was Creepshow. It's a great Stephen King film, written by Stephen King, directed by George A. Romero, who's infamous for all of his zombie films, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all of that stuff. They got together and made this great film, kind of based on a comic book called Creepshow. And in it, it's like 5 stories, kind of like a Tales from the Crypt comic book, would have multiple stories inside. And you've got this Creepshow comic, and inside there are like 5 horror stories. And it was really fun because it was a live-action movie that would go, excuse me, to like semi-animated sequences, and kind of like this comic booky art in between storylines. So you'd have a story about, you know, a father returning from the grave on Father's Day and taking out his ungrateful family. Let's go take a look at this car real quick. I'll tell you while I finish this story. So you have a story where, like, you know, a zombie comes back from the dead and what have you, and then as it transitions to the next story, it would go into like a comic book mode. You would get these sequences with like the comic book pages turning. It would zoom in on another comic book panel and then transition back into live action. It was just so cool. It was one of those things, just like growing up, like watching like Page Master or Roger Rabbit, Mary Poppins, and just getting those cool live action moments blended in with the animations. Just really cool, really fun stuff. So my father saw that we really liked the movie, and he actually found a comic based off of the film. And my sister and I used to fight over that all the time. We brought it home, and we would sit on the living room floor and watch the movie and turn the pages. So this guy could spin here. It just kind of like, it was almost like a weird, kind of creepy read-along. You know, you have like sing-along stuff. Okay. I'll take the points. The worst thing to get, I think, is clothing and chips, really, because you can only like use the chips here. Discount wouldn't be fun. Yeah, so my sister and I would sit back and fight over this comic, and then my dad thought, like, oh, well, they like horror comics. So he started buying us reprints of, like, Tales from the Crypt and Mystery Science and all these different things. And at first, my sister and I were like, no, we don't like horror comic books. We just really like the Creepshow movie and the Creepshow comic book. Like, that's kind of where it rose and fell. But as we started reading these things and started reading these stories, we realized that, wow, we do really enjoy um, horror comics. And then that was just the gateway to Spider-Man and Wolverine, Punisher, and all that. So, but that's where it all kind of started, really, with the horror movies. So, like, with Scream coming out this weekend, it's kind of
no kidding.
it's kind of neat. Just like I said, so much going on that it all kind of like falls into my wheelhouse. Whether it's Scream or whether it's this new Peacemaker series or whether it's Boba Fett, Star Wars, like there's just a lot for me to get down with this week. It's pretty cool. I'm 42.
I'm good, you know.
Been reading
Gonna head
comics
home,
and playing games
grab
for like
Vanessa
30
Rest of
years.
Baracho.
And sometimes I think, like, dude, am I wasting my life doing this stuff? Like, is this really, worth it? Should I be doing this? But then something else comes out. The Eternals drops, and I'm like, oh man, this is so cool.
Hey, come in.
And I love my comic collection. It's just a really fun collection. I got a lot of cool stuff in there. What's up, bro? Well, guys, thanks for tuning in, hanging out. I'm going to leave you here at the dance club. It's Friday. You guys have an awesome weekend. I hope you guys have had a great week. Make sure you get to the comic shop. Get you some new comic books. Check out Peacemaker. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Comment down below. I should be back later on with some New Game Friday, hopefully. We'll do a little dirt for you guys. Free game on PlayStation Plus this month. And I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow to do the wheel spin. Might do a late night wheel spin tomorrow. We'll see. We're heading to Epcot tomorrow. Little celebration with some friends. And comment down below if you want to see, maybe instead of doing some video game stuff tomorrow with some unboxing, maybe I'll put up a little Epcot video. Leave some comments down below if you guys want to see some video of Epcot. And just leave some comments down below, guys. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you got going on this weekend. Love hearing from you. My man T's got a birthday coming up soon. My boy Buck just saw Spider-Man, so I'm sure this weekend we'll get some game time going, maybe even have a little conversation about that. Then I've also got part 3 of 42 and playing Fortnite with Buck. We were wrecking shop the other day, dude. We got so many dubs, it was crazy. Well, guys, anyway, this is not goodbye. You know that. It's just to be continued. And until next time, guys, don't spend that quarter anywhere else. Thank you so much for hanging out in Rob's Arcade. Thanks for always coming back. Special shout out to all our cadets. You guys have a great weekend. And I'll catch you next time, guys. Later.